I appreciate Jordan Eberle joining us from Long Island and sitting through that sports update, although I would assume, Ebbs, you don't get a ton of WHL coverage out there on Long Island, so there's your update. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you doing, Rod?
Very good, Ebbs. Hey, I'm going to jump right in with last night's game. 4-3 OT victory over the Dallas Stars. You had a couple of assists in the game. How'd it go? Looked like an exciting one down there.
Yeah, it was a big win for us. I think if you look at the standings, especially our division, it's about as tight as it can be. So, to come back at a late overtime or a late power play goal, tie the game up in the third, and then get the overtime win was big. So, we're pretty much in playoff mode right now. It's a race to the finish line, and we're in a good spot right now.
Wow, I thought it was only the Atlantic Division that was doing that. So how do you like playing playoff hockey this early? That could wear some teams out. How do you feel about doing it?
I love it. I mean, I haven't been in these situations very much. I think, obviously in Edmonton, we were out of it pretty early, quite a few years. So to have the opportunity to, have the mental mindset to be every game's important. Those are fun. It sucks when you get down to February, March, and the games don't really mean anything. So it's been fun so far.
Hey, I got to ask you about a guy by the name of Kiefer Bellows, who they're all excited out here. The former Winterhawk made his NHL debut last night, got his way onto the score sheet. What can you tell us about Kiefer Bellows?
Yeah, he was good. He didn't look out of place at all. I think that's the biggest thing. Kid's first game. A lot of times they're a little bit nervous. They're changing quickly and not really holding on to the puck. But he looked good.
We have viewers from New York, by the way. Joe Lazito Ebbs writes in, and he asked me to ask you about Kiefer Bellows. We just did that. Joe goes on to say, can you ask Barry Trotz to dress Johnston for every game? I don't know who this Johnston is. Who's he referring to?
Roscoe is like I guess you'd call him our enforcer, but he's probably pound for pound one of the toughest guys in the league. So when he's out there, it's gives us a little bit more space, which is nice.
What goes into whether he gets in the lineup or not? Is that based on your opponent, or do you know?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I think a lot of times we play the Rangers. Maybe they dress a bigger, tough guy, Haley, or something like that. But I think it's just a matter of how the lineup's going. I think that's probably a better question for Barry. I don't really deal with that one.
I got to ask you, Ebbs, you have not stopped smiling since you came on here. So I got to ask you something. This trade to New York, how has it been for you? From just watching out here, and we don't get you as much as we'd like the games, but has it kind of recharged you?
Yeah. I mean, it's fun playing meaningful games. I mean, the last couple of years have been great. Last year in the playoffs, and then this year being in the hunt. I mean, I can't really compare the two between Edmonton and New York. They're so different, but equally, I like them equally as much. And my wife and I have enjoyed it out here. I mean, there's lots to do. The team, I think this is one of the tighter knit groups that I've been a part of since I've started playing hockey. So it's been a lot of fun.
You probably get asked these questions all the time, but can you go in New York and not be recognized? Because I know in Edmonton you couldn't, but do you have some degree of anonymity there in New York?
Oh yeah, no one knows who we are. It's great, especially in the city. You go anywhere there. I mean, if you do get recognized, it's usually a Canadian, which is funny. But Long Island, I think we do have quite a bit of a fan base here, and you get stopped in the streets. I went for breakfast this morning. A guy came up to me and said, "Nice win last night." So, you do get recognized, and the faithful here really go back to the 1980s and when they were winning cups, and they've been fans since then.
Doyle, the manager of Wendell Clark's in Saskatoon, is writing in. He says, my favorite player, Ebbs. And Doyle is an Oiler fan, so I get it. Alan Lai writes in. He says, do you still face off against Taylor Hall in NHL 20? And if not, do the Islanders have a video game tournament? Do you guys play against each other?
No, I haven't played NHL in a long time, but it's funny. I'm getting old enough now where I got nephews and nieces that are playing as me. So that's where we're at with that right now. So I'm having a kid here in about a month too. So times are changing for me.
There is a time in your life, trust me, Ebbs, you'll get there. Sounds like it's right around the corner that you don't have time for video games, but I don't think Taylor Hall's anywhere near that yet. A couple Pats alum with the Islanders, we're following real closely. Well, for one, Clark Gillies was on with us last week, and he says, as far as he's concerned, you're having a great season. And then you got Barry Trotz down there, former Pats captain, as your head coach. What's your relationship with Trotzy like?
Trotzy's great. Him and I have, the connection with obviously the Pats, and then Notre Dame as well. And I've been a Western boy. I think with Barry, he's such a presence back there with the respect factor. He's got Stanley Cup. He's got, I think he's third or fourth all-time wins. In my opinion, he'll probably be in the Hall of Fame. So you just soak in. You listen to what he has to say. I think with losing JT last year and Barry coming in and implementing a system that, we all kind of stuck to, and, it's very defensive, and, you maybe got to give up your individual stats sometimes, but you're winning hockey games, and that's what it's about. I mean, that's the point of my career where that's what we want to do. And we've had a good group that's bought into what he's saying, and that's why we've had success. So the nights that we don't have success, a lot of times we're straying away from that, but Barry's done a good job and Lou Lamoriello of implementing a system, and we've got the group that's kind of initiating it out there.
What do you think Trotzy's secret is? And I don't mean systems per se, but does he let you guys have input in the game plan, or let you be yourselves, or what do you think as a player's coach is his secret?
I think he does a really good job of finding a role for each guy on the team, whether it's minor, whether you're PKing or whether you're power play or whatever it is. It seems like every guy on our team, 4-on-4, it doesn't matter. A guy has a role on the team, and for the most part, they feel pretty important. And I think if you look at the way that he plays, especially the forwards, which he runs, it's pretty equal. I mean, we're running 4 lines, and every night we win by committee. We're not, we're not focusing and worrying and trying to just play 2 lines and trying to win by that way. It's a long 82-game season. I mean, the playoffs gets pretty bit into a grind, and Barry does a good job of keeping everyone in and keeping the team together.
Ebbs, we've started something all the fans and viewers want to ask questions, so I'm just going to ask one more from them and then one from me, and I'll let you go. But Gregory Lai writes in and he says, who is a better fighter, Ross Johnston or Matt Martin?
Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble with this one. You know what? I'm gonna go with Ross. I think Ross is a little bit bigger. I'm sure Matty will beat me up tomorrow for that, but they're both equally tough. But yeah, RJ for me is one of the toughest guys that I've seen play, and pound for I don't think I've seen him lose a fight yet. So he's a tough kid.
Well, that's easy. That was an easy answer. Well, I lied. I might have 2 questions.
Well, it's an easy answer for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Battle of Alberta. I don't know how much you're watching it, but you saw the Nuge fought the other night. It was his 3rd career fight. It was Sean Monahan's 1st ever. I don't know if he fought in junior, but it got me thinking about yours that night in Brandon. What were you thinking that night? Because I remember you got on the bus after, and I said, "Why did you do that?" And you said because everybody else was. What do you remember about your only major junior fight?
Well, I picked the biggest guy, which was stupid. But junior hockey, I think your tempers flare. It's funny. In my 2nd year with Regina, I remember we had a real tough team. Ryan Bender, Watt, obviously Tubes was on the team. Miles Stays. We had a really tough team, and I remember we got in a couple bench brawls that year with Moose Jaw, and we had quite a few line brawls that year. But I always seem to stay out of it. We get at a bench brawl, I'd be looking for the trainer usually, try and fight him. But that night in Brandon, I remember same thing. Game got out of hand a little bit. I think we had a line brawl and somehow ended up with I don't remember what it was. I think it was Urbaum or Fair. It was one of the two. It seems like it's so long ago. But fighting's it's not really my thing, as you've seen. I think I've got a couple NHL fights and haven't done too well. So. But sometimes it gets the team going. It's fun to do, especially if you're, not playing well. The team's not playing well. It's fun to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, and you just duck your head and throw as many punches. A lot of times you don't get hit anyways, so it makes you look good.
I'm actually glad that you said that, because you didn't do too bad, and Huntsy loved it. I mean, you didn't lose. It was like a draw, but I was just like, why are you doing that? It was a 7-1 game, but for you to say everybody was doing it, that actually makes sense to me. Tony Steffen says, Jordan, what is your favorite goal of all time? May I? World Juniors, Ottawa? That's got to be your number one goal.
I think it'd be probably, that one or my first NHL goal in my first game. That one was with my family there too. I don't know, either one of those. It's like, I think the Canada goal, obviously, because we went on to win that tournament, and that was pretty special. I think if we would have went and won the next year in Saskatoon in overtime, the two I scored before we tied it up too was, they're all, I think anytime you connect a goal to your team winning, that's probably the Ottawa one. That was pretty special, and still quite a hot topic when I meet people. It's seems that it's neat to hear where people were, that it's still a fond memory. Even Matt Barzell on my team, I found a tweet that he had tweeted out in 2000 and maybe 12, something like that. He was still maybe just before junior. He tweeted out, that goal that Jordan Eberle scored in the World Junior still gives me goosebumps. It's hilarious because we're playing together now. So, when you connect to kids like that, or people hear where they are, it's neat to hear those stories.
You've probably seen that it was voted the greatest World Junior goal ever, and you were voted the greatest Canadian World Junior ever. I can't even. Obviously you knew that, right? I mean, I'm not going to ask you to talk about that because you're so humble you won't want to. The guys that own the Tap, the Wire, writes in. He says, "How many times did Jordan forget his jacket at the Tap when he was too young?" We won't go there.
Last one. Great spot.
It is a great spot. Great food. Last one. You saw Tubi, our interview with him the other day. I appreciate the retweet, by the way. I was a little taken aback that he's running an entire junior program in Bellingham, Washington. Coach, GM, marketing guy, head scout, blah, 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 blah. I'm just proud of him for taking it on. What do you think of that whole situation?
Yeah, Tubes has come a long way. I mean, from the kid that, we both met when we were 16. He's a dad. He's got, I think he's got 2 kids. What is it? 3? I can't remember. I keep in touch with Tubes once in a while. He's got 2 or 3 kids, and he's, obviously running the whole organization down there with coach, GM, scout. I think I heard him in his interview say he was going to pick up the food too. So he's got his hands full there, but Tubes I played with him when he was in Edmonton too, and he did very well. He's obviously he's a pretty mature guy. He's, especially after he had some kids, he's really matured up, and I'd love to see him get an opportunity, whether it's junior. I think he had mentioned he wanted to move into that and try and get a coaching job or move into the pro ranks. He's got a lot of experience. Obviously one of the best leaders that I've played with, him in Regina and Edmonton and World Juniors, and he's a good guy. So, it was good to see him on your show the other day. I don't get enough time to spend with him. I see him maybe once a year or if that. So, he's him and I have a lot of fond memories together, and it'd be good to see him move on towards his goals.
You bet. Those were great times, and I think he'll be a success at whatever he puts his mind to, and I think he's actually putting his mind to something now. So I think that...
It's amazing.
He'll be great. Ebbs, look, we'll let you go. I'm going to be in Vegas next week for a couple games. One is the Saturday with the Islanders in town, so I'll be the fat guy in the stands in the morning skate, looking down on you there.
Shoot me a text before the game.
I will. All right, Ebbs, thanks for the time, man.
I'll take some money off you and Madden.
Well, again, right. Unsportsmanlike, running up the score. Thanks, Ebbs.
All right. Take care. Thanks a lot.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.